at the same time, who knows? It's hard to say. I don't think we're going to see RCYs here. That would surprise me a bit. I think it's too weak of a position to draft in. I think more likely we're just going to see Italian Gangster, but that's where DogChamp have surprised us. They kind of like drafting Italian Gangster hero very, very late, which is a different drafting style in itself, but I don't know. It's been working out for them, but really no other team has met them with that kind of drafting idea.
Been a little bit unique to them so far,
Mm,
but yeah, that's about as close to the Italiano Gangster Bully hero as you're going to get. The Night Stalker pickup for them, and maybe he doesn't play the nicest with the likes of the Faceless Void with the Chronosphere, but they're going to be focusing different targets in these fights 9 times out of 10, and well, if you're SG Esports, you already had some supports on the backline that aren't the tankiest in the world. Now, if someone like the Mirana gets silenced and can't even leap away, it's going to be sort of free food for the Night Stalker.
yeah, and now if you're Yuma right now, you're thinking to yourself, what can I pick to counter out this Night Stalker? If he's gonna be give me a free first 5 minutes of this game, what can we do now? And that's where the punishment needs to come out of in the draft. You can't just pick Night Stalker in this position, and this is the exact same lineup that DogChamp have already run in this tournament, almost pick for pick here. I feel like that's where they only go for it, knowing how weak the supports on SGR, which is again a little bit unfortunate for SG because the Tyranno Gangster will be that problem child for you. It's also nearly impossible now for you to get that Beastmaster Roar onto the Faceless Void. You're going to need to be smoked, you're going to need to BKB, and you're going to need to hope that there isn't a Dark Ascension going on there. So just even more setup for Stonebank to find that perfect chrono, which he has over and over again.
Hmm.
I was going to mention the Monkey King, and sure, that's your punishment. That's your, I drafted Night Stalker too early, so I'm going to pick Monkey King and just womp you in lane. But then you're also playing Monkey King versus Night Stalker and Faceless Void, where if you get scouted out in those trees, you're just dead. You're the first chrono target. You're the first guy they're going to take away. And it's kind of a weird spot to be in. I think Monkey Carry got a bunch of play at the turn of the patch, but then everybody realized that we're in this more Faceless Void kind of grind set, and we can't really look back anymore.
Yeah, it's just going to be a tough sort of thing to ask for the Monkey King, especially if the Night Stalker is going to pop that Dark Ascension, right? Has the flying movement and the vision, so scenarios where the Monkey King normally would sort of think that he's kind of safe to maneuver kind of get taken away, and then you can be punished pretty heavily before your BKB pickup. So it's a risky play, but if you're SG Esports, I don't really know if you had too many alternatives that would have actually felt better than what they've.
Yeah, especially with the Ursa already banned out as well by DogChamp,
Yeah.
because of course Stonebank's going to be on the Void. But yeah, it's a toughie for sure. And like the respect ban, I think KXY really was doing a pretty good job of laning versus RCY. The tough lane to talk about, KXY versus RCY, makes your head spin. But that's where I think with the Lena ban, kind of signals that RCY is going to be playing maybe a slightly weaker hero. It's that unfortunate pick order where you either slam a melee hero and then you have to play into whatever could be an unlaneable situation for you, or you go for one of those easy draws. Unfortunately, a ton of the draw heroes are out of the game. Yeah. And with the puck ban as well, you can just pick something here and then be happy with it. If you go for something, again, too greedy, especially one of the melee spirits coming into this, SG just say, okay, you picked Ember Spirit, well, we're gonna pick Shadow Fiend. If you pick Void Spirit, well, we're gonna pick Ember Spirit after you. It's one of those situations where you almost can't get ahead of the line. And they go for Zeus. Why not? Super safe pickup. Can't really go wrong with it. And then for KXY, if he wants to, he could go for a hero like Queen of Pain. Honestly, feels pretty nice here. But aside from that, I think he is just going to look for something that's going to capitalize off of all of the stick charges that Zeus gives every single mid laner he plays against.
Maybe they put KXY on something with a little bit more ganking potential, because Zeus doesn't quite have the same mobility. Of course, with the Thunder God's Wrath, he can potentially just snipe you out without moving from the lane at all, but no, that's a whole different argument. But if KXY can be put on something with the mobility, with the gank potential, with the ability to push the tempo, maybe they could sort of eke something out, and the Ember Spirit is a hero that definitely fits that mold.
Yeah. And I think that's where the TA ban ends up making a little bit more sense, because, of course, you can't play TA versus Zeus, and KXY already did kind of bop you with it, so might as well try it out anyways. But yeah, Ember Spirit gets to be their free 24 pick. It is the 24 pick where you can kind of get away with that hero unless you want to spend 2 bans and you pick it earlier. But yeah, I think it's something that KXY can at least play around a little bit. Also, like the little bit of a combination play they've got going for them where they can just immediately Searing Chain somebody, you throw an arrow, they have to get Force Staff, they have to get BKB'd, otherwise could just die before you get any of your spells off. And not to mention just that, but you've got the Boundless Strike as well. I think in their last 2 picks here, they're covering for what they're lacking from their supports in their offlaner just a little bit by having just a wee bit of lockdown to play around. But at the same time, DogChamp have Faceless Void. It's the hero that breaks any convention in Dota right now. It's too much team fight. If he gets too many free chronos early on, he gets a 13, 14-minute Midas every single game, followed by a very quick Maelstrom. Again, this has been Stonebank's best hero in the tournament. It's why it's been so fearsome and why DogChamp have finally just straight up first picked it.
Yeah. At a certain point, you just sort of have it inching further and further forward in these drafts until people say, you know what? It's just so damn strong. Who cares? We're going to pick it in the very first stage and basically force our opponents to try and do something about it. But I do like what SG Esports have done here. And as you mentioned, their support duo is maybe not as reliable as some of the other ones we've seen. But we saw in the matchups earlier today and even going back to yesterday's games as well, a little bit too much of the opposite, where the cores don't have lockdown, they only have damage, so you're overly reliant on the supports. Now, maybe you've swapped a little bit too far the other direction, we'll have to wait and see, but it just felt weird. There were so many drafts where the cores weren't able to independently lock anyone down to actually secure a kill or even force a fight, so the fact that SG Esports do have those tools at their disposal here makes me feel a little bit more confident in their lineup, maybe compared to what they had in Game 1, but that's still a Faceless Void on the other side, so it moves the needle a bit, but I don't know if it's going to be enough.
Yeah, and we'll see, because right now, SG smoked up, DogChamp chatting up with the Night Stalker here. Something Italiano Gangster didn't do in the last game he played Night Stalker. He was just sitting underneath his tower blocking, but it's impossible to ward versus a Night Stalker. Italian Gangster just with the nighttime vision, but yeah, well, he sees 3.
That arrow hits, maybe they do something with it, but might have the extra damage. Boundless Strike came in a little late as well, but
this'll work.
It was worth a try. It's a little bit of damage that forces out maybe a Tango, and why does he... I think I'm just a little bit glitched here. It's got the Nature's Attendance buff on him, but it's not actually going. Very strange. Doesn't really matter, though. Gonna settle into the laning setup here as the Bounty Runes go 3-1 in DogChamp's favor, and LTH and B9 are fighting, but yeah, Bloody 9 gets to cheat. Actually activates the Nature's Attendance there, and just completely full, whereas LTH has to back up.
Yeah, it's a very efficient spell and something that he has shown that he just likes to get at level 1. Doesn't like to necessarily rely on that enchant too early, especially because B9 doesn't really like starting with sentries when he plays Enchantress, but where we'll have to see. A lot about this lane is just making sure that LTH doesn't have the freest time when it comes to arrowing those ranged creeps, but other than that, this should be pretty farm-oriented. It's where SG, at the very least coming into this, they're both just going to farm. And it does mean that the Faceless Void will be happy, but at the end of the day, so will Oscar.
Yaren's not looking too happy over in the bottom lane, as he did take a hell of a lot of damage, but popped the stick charges, turned around with the Scatter Blast, and he is going to live. And this is the downside of this combo, as LTH does get taken down in the top lane. That's your first blood to DogChamp, but Skywrath Mage and Monkey King go in, they fire off their salvo, but once that's done, what else is there, right? There's no Jingu, he uses the Boundless Strike, and then it's just kind of over.
Yeah, it's where now maybe they're going to get the level 1 Jingu, but that's where, unfortunately for Yuma, needs to be level 3 before he can really put out too much pressure. Otherwise, it's just easy denies in front of him. But with the creep wave pushing in so hard, I think Italian Gangster is going to be happy to just aggro these creeps back, get some denies going for him. It's where Yuma really needs to do a good job here of just shutting down his lane opponent. But
punish
at
Oscar.
top, super dead.
Just a little bit too low on HP. Didn't respect the slow out from the level 1 enchant. Should, though. It's just It's a pretty insane amount of slow just at level 1, and Stonebank doesn't have a crazy amount of damage, but if all he has to do is tap the Beastmaster once or twice, he can, you know, make that happen as KXY. He's not going to die, but he does lose that rune, and he's looking for a kill, actually. Can the Sleight of Fist get it? No, it can't. Prada just needs to stay close. Concussive Shot might do the work for him. Gonna send it out, not gonna have the vision.
Nope, extremely close. KXY is getting bullied, though, by Destroyer. It's kind of been fun to watch. He had a pretty nifty play where he was underneath the tower. I think double waved him for the moment, but then eventually just ran out of mana, ran out of Flame Guard. Both sides had to make the retreat happen, but we'll have to see now how this lane plays out. I feel like eventually, though, this is another one of those draws that I think SG were looking for. They're just looking to get farm out of their other two lanes while hopefully Yuma dominates, but we'll see if that plays out.
Pretty good so far, but this is the area where he's supposed to have the clear advantage, right? It's daytime against a Night Stalker, so... Speaking of which, Italiano is holding 2 skill points right now. That's funky. Only 1 point in the Void while he's sitting at level 3, so... We'll see what he puts those points into later. In the meantime, back up top, another attempt on to Oscar. This time, though, they weren't able to finish him off. And realistically, it felt like that first time around, the only reason they got the kill onto Oscar was because he stayed too long with too low HP. So they try to bring him down from full HP. It's not really as realistic a kill.
Yeah, definitely not. And it's also where finally I think he's got that... there it is, Helm of Iron Will coming on the courier, and then he will be a-okay when it comes to regenning in this lane. But can't hesitate enough about this, though. Stomach's just getting farmed. He's just getting easy levels. Nice arrow, though.
Finish off the kill, though. Yeah, not really. And is able to still get the D-Ward, still heal himself up. Level 2 in the Nature's Attendance basically gets him to full. Yeah, you just got to burst him down, but right now between Beastmaster and Mirana, that burst is kind of, iffy, but the arrow does come through. It's still not enough. Oh, LTH is going to try and dive for it, but they can't finish the job. And now, Oscar, you've got to be a little careful. Time Walk is up if Stonebank gets maybe a bash or two, but no, not going to take that chance.
Nah, just simply not lucky enough, but also a whole bunch of mana that LTH has now used that aren't going to be going to these range creeps, so we'll have to see. I still think very satisfied as, KXY just getting nuked down over and over.
Yeah. RCY, not even a point up in the Lightning Bolt yet. He's just doing this all with Heavenly Jump and the Arc Lightning, and jeez, KXY. This is not a fun time. And you take a look at his skill build, he doesn't want to go full Flame Guard to absorb the damage, but that means stuff like this happens, where eventually the Arc Lightning just kind of overwhelms him and pushes him away.
Yeah, and unfortunately he has to make this walk a shame, and you also see RCY making the walk, so nobody's taking over that mid lane for just a bit here, but ideally you get your level 6 and then this doesn't happen, but instead you just got a little bit too low too quickly. But now that it's nighttime, we'll have to see how these lanes start to play out. I still wonder if Yuma's gotten enough down here. He's about 1,000 net worth ahead of Italiano Gangster, but that's where I think Prada needs to be so careful with his positioning. Is top, though. Trades get made. Stonebank, he needs a few more bashes, but he's winning. And he won.
Prada actually finished him off. He did send in an immediate Arcane Bolt. It's not enough for the kill right now, though. Gonna send out a second. Stonebank, time walking away. Not enough to bring him down. Survives on about 50 HP, and now Prada, he would love to bait, and he might actually be successful here. Stonebank, he's living dangerously, and yeah, he might be punished for it. There's going to be the axes into the slow. Does he have the time walk? Not for one more second. He's able to get away. They wanted the punish, and Prada did a pretty solid job of kind of getting Stonebank back into the area. They just can't finish him off. Now the arrow. Next on to B9. Axes fly through as well, but the wand charges are here for Bloody 9, so he's not going to die immediately. He tries to heal up with the attendance, but it's not quite enough. So, what, third attempt at it for SG Esports, but they finally hit something. It's just not the hero they thought they were killing at first in Stonebank.
And hey, funnily enough, on the Enchantress's corpse, the sprites still stick around, so Stonebank gets a full heal, All tactical. All tactical.
feel like that shouldn't happen, but whatever. It does. Stonebank gets to heal up, and yeah, considering Stonebank was the one on like 50 HP twice in that engagement, B9 being the one to die is definitely something DogChamp are okay with. But I want to see now. I mean, moves should be in the process of being made, right? RCY has his ult. They've got the Night Stalker starting to sort of build up and still has a little bit of time before the next day, so try to maneuver around the map as RCY fakes it out, but they might actually just go for it there because Yaren, well, he gets the angle.
No, yeah, just had a little bit too much damage, and I think always Thunder God's Wrath just catches you off guard, and without raindrops, you do just feel it all. It's where you click across the board and see how many raindrops do we actually have. Yuma's prepared himself, but everybody else definitely ate a little bit more damage than I think they were ready for, but that's where so many heroes rotating out of bottom, though, even though it is still that 1v1 where you should be winning on Yuma, I feel like Italiano's got the recovery going as well, and he's super happy. KXY is looking for revenge top and might be able to get B9 for free.
They're working on it. B9, though, is going to make them chase. They do eventually track it down. Okay. Meanwhile, Stonebank, he just now hit level 6, so yeah, Chrono wasn't available for the fight, and now what is this? Yarn? That's bold. Just straight up walked through the area where he knew multiple heroes were. That's a little crazy, and he does pay for it. So that was supposed to be Stonebank's reinforcements, and instead he has to fall back.
Yeah, and they are kind of just stuck in this endless defense. Unfortunately, for SG, they don't have that Helm of the Dominator flying out just yet. Oscar's going to have it for that 10-minute cart timing, but aside from that, now it might be time to kind of rotate KXY around here. He does very nicely get to take away the bounty rune from that Zeus, but that's where they're getting a lot of XP. They're very wisely rotating these heroes around the map. Yarn takes over mid as soon as RCY has to go back to base, so Snapfire's level 6 is becoming more and more of a focus here, and that's when we really are going to get this game started.
Yarn got this take a little bit of XP, but then the Zeus comes in and boots him out of his lane. KXY is returning as well, though, so wondering for a moment if they were going to try to commit for some sort of fight, but this time around, Thunder God's Wrath wasn't quite ready, so without that sort of knockout blow, they decide it's probably not worth trying to chase an Ember Spirit.
No, definitely not, but they've also been stacking it up, and look at Oscar. 3 points up in the Wild Axes. Gonna take a huge stack for himself.
Okay. Gets him his Dom Helm. He's, I don't know, does he just go straight into Overlord? Looks like he's queued that up, so he knows what he's about. Just looking for the straight upgrade. Now looking for the kill onto B9. The arrow hits onto the... Well, it hits onto the Pine Cone, but it really doesn't matter. They still have the damage, so... Bloody 9 tried to make the only move he had available, but it wasn't enough. Meanwhile, Italiano Gangster's getting chased down a little bit here, but he sidestepped the Boundless Strike, and they really don't have anything left to chase him with that.
Yeah, with that, they just get to kind of reset here, and I think Italiano Gangster's done a pretty fine job of finding his reset in this game. Of course, now has to be kind of defensive, only as the Dark Ascension to make these plays happen,
But
as
KXY,
KXY is just...
he has a
doing
Remnant,
things.
right? Like,
Yeah, and a haste rune, so he's just trying to be obnoxious here. But bottom lane, Italiano gets taken down.
do finally punish the Night Stalker, and KXY just gets to walk away, so all things considered, that goes pretty well. But up in the top lane, there's going to be our first Chrono into the Mortimer Kisses. Yarn was finally able to find that. The only downside of that, I mean, cool, Chrono was out, Mortimer Kisses combines for the tried and true combo, but you had already lost your own offlaner on the other side, so it is in the end just a trade-off as KXY is... He's able to jump away, but the Remnant was on his opponent's side. They didn't know that, though, so going in a real position to punish him. At the same time, Italiano, he's getting hit up again. He has to use the Ascension really just to get himself out. Nobody's TPing in here to help him, so he can't really turn this.
Yeah, and this will feel pretty bad in the next few minutes here. For about 2 minutes, we do just have a melee creep on our team, but at least Italiano's got just another lane to occupy, and it's not like they're losing these buildings all too quickly, because Stonebank is just anchoring down his lane.
Mischief's a fun spell. B9 comes in, gets the enchant for the slow. Yuma turns into a tree, so you just have a very slow tree making its way over. But in the middle lane, that's where the real fight was. RCY by himself. They recognize the rotation. Able to push in, and now Stonebank, I mean, yeah, he's here, but they know he has no chrono, so they're not really all that afraid of him. And don't look now, but KXY is starting to feel a little bit stronger. And we talked about the exact reason they picked this Ember, right? The ability to be more mobile than his counterpart in the Zeus, to try and maybe push out and find some of those kills. As speaking of, well, B9 has been spotted, Mystic Flare down, Prada gets it, and SG are building up a little momentum. Now they want more. They've got the arrow onto Yarn in the middle lane. KXY, though, has to commit if he wants this kill. He's trying to wait out as long as he can, but they're not really going to get it, and that... He jumped to the Remnant, I think, preemptively, not realizing he was slowed, so the Remnant was slowed too, and didn't actually travel where he wanted.
Yeah, and what, 100 MS, Heavenly jumps, yeah. Very, very slow Remnant. During all this time, Beastmaster was getting in that top lane, and just need to be a little bit careful here if you're in closer to that Snapfire, who does have Mortimer Kisses, but they're just playing around the high ground advantage right now. KXY should be able to get this kill for free. Oscar actually snipes it.
That's another benefit, right, of the maxed out axes. You do quite a bit of damage. As Yarn gets taken down, Oscar makes more progress towards the Helm of the Overlord. SG, I mean, look at how far forward they are right now. Maybe a little too far forward. LTH needs to back it off a bit, but KXY gets the root into the arrow. They've locked down the Faceless Void. Can they finish him off? Not quite yet, but Rada's able to get in there for the last bit of damage they need, and well, if LTH was too far forward, he really just shifts himself into bait. As they find that big kill, and now this forces, look at this defense. Heroes have to come for that tier 1. A lot of resources being committed, and it may not even be enough to save the tower. The creeps are still going. Oh, RCY, you can't be here. He's in trouble. There's going to be the root. Yuma's coming in as well. Bound the strike. Holding. He's going to throw it out now for the trio of stuns. And this is where things start to fall apart if you're DogChamp. The tower is still standing, but it's really an afterthought at this point. They're looking for more kills, and they're going to get them.
Yeah, this is just Yuma stuff here. He actually decided to go for a Midas as well, so he's going to be right up there with the Faceless Void in terms of his own farm, but he's being a little bit of a bully, and, well, that was unfortunate.
Stonebank is not happy, as that creep is on his opponent's side, but he's going to be happier with... okay, maybe he's not. That's an awkward chrono. Italiano couldn't actually attack during it, but they should still find the kill. RCY comes in with the Thunder God's Wrath. They finish the kill, but... what is going on here? SG are so far forward. They wanted the roar, but they weren't able to get it. So RCY walks away while his teammates find a second kill down bot. It's LTH who gets caught, and it's like two entirely different games are going down, right? There's one game happening in the bottom lane exclusively, and then a completely different one mid, but those two might end up converging now. SG are trying to make their way down bot, hoping to defend their tier 1 tower, but I don't think they're going to get here in time.
No, and now it's just a matter of the escape plan. Have to start making their way up, I feel like, because the Hawk is just going to scout him out, but no, some indecisiveness, and I think that's really what has been plaguing SG a little bit in the past 2 minutes or so, and that's resulted in Yuma's first death, is they don't know if they want to make the play bottom or if they want to keep the play going mid. They end up being short in both situations, and I feel like that's really starting to wear on them just a bit here. As we've keep talking about, you can only make so many mistakes versus this Faceless Void lineup. And now they're pushed in, looking for something here. They need the silence into the roar, though. Otherwise, this kill is pretty much impossible. Trying to utilize it, and there you go. Got it.
Sneaky use of the trees there. They get in, they take down Yuma. Excuse me, they take down Stonebank. Yuma does end up dying elsewhere on the map, though, as RCY was able to take him down, so... this is always kind of the downside, right? You have these honestly impressive plays. They were so sneaky getting into that jungle, but, you know, they lose their own carry at the same time, so it kind of puts a damper on the move.
No, for sure. And they keep these plays going. They're just going to continue being obnoxious, but I'm getting a little concerned here, because at the end of the day, you're playing versus Zeus. Aside from your Beastmaster, the rest of your lineup isn't really good at either killing Roche or getting onto buildings, and oh, bit of a weird fight mid.
Arrow. Prada doesn't have Mystic Flare, though, otherwise that would have been an easy kill. They might still get it if the right click hits. No, it's not going to be enough damage. But now Prada doing a little bit of dancing. Moonlight Shadow's going to help, and KXY, he sees the Zeus. He is not going to be denied that kill. Slight cost, though. Prada was on an unstoppable streak. I did not realize that. So that trade's not really as massively SG favored as I thought. It does still go their way, but a nice bit of gold in exchange of your DogChamp.
No, for sure. Taliano also got to walk there, but
Oh,
see
hold
now
on.
Yarn is wild. I can't believe he actually just hopped forward like that, but again, it's not having that just instant disable, and KXY just missed out on just a second there. Otherwise, we probably would have gotten Yarn again, but they're
Stonebank does
cutting
not
in.
have TP.
Yeah, he's stuck here. Another 10 seconds at the very least, but he's got the ward, and now he's probably just going to make the call to retreat it. Yeah, dewarded as well.
He hasn't quite left yet. His teammates, though, are trying to push onto Oscar. Try to turn around for the roar, but the silence is going to catch him first. They do try to slow up Italiano Gangster, and they do get him. That arrow connects as well, but Oscar, he's just taking too much damage. He's going to try and turn around for the kill. He does get it, but it absolutely costs him his own life. But now, if you're DogChamp, how much further can you go? Stonebank, he wanted to get in close, but he doesn't quite have enough range of movement, so turns into a pretty straightforward trade-off of the offlaners, and honestly, I feel like that does favor SG a little bit more because, yeah, now they can do this. They're going to push their way forward onto RCY, and that is a pretty easy kill. They know now that Italiano Gangster's dead, if there is no Faceless Void in sight of the fight, there's no way that they can punish us.
Yeah, and just a little bit of a basic mistake there, just moving a little bit too far past. That's the second time now where B9 probably should check the ward just in case, but they give up one kill while figuring that out, which kind of sucks. It definitely kills a little bit of momentum for RCY especially, who does just want to keep on farming, keep on using his mana, but also with Helm of the Overlord completed, this is SG's easy forcing move, finally into the pit.
Well, is it the fastest Rosh in the world? No, it is not, but they are going to take it without any real resistance. DogChamp, I mean, they have their scan. I guess they could check that way, but yeah, by the time they check now, it's going to be too late already. Rosh going down. Yuma set up to claim that Aegis. Oh, okay, well, then they scan afterwards, but at that point, it's kind of too late, boys. So, DogChamp find out one way or another as B9... They know that's not really a kill they're going to be able to get easily enough. Not worth diving a tower for, but always SG's chance, right? They're up by 4K. They can start taking control of the map, really focus in on these tier 2s, and then DogChamp are willing to stand up and defend them, then they have the Aegis for the fight.
And with that, a lot of big items also in queue, especially the Atos being finished up on Prada right alongside the BKB on that Monkey King, and that's where you better hope that there are 4 steps picked up on the DogChamp side of things. Otherwise, you will just straight up die. You won't be able to survive a lot of those situations. And the cores are starting to feel pretty strapped here. RCY very greedily takes that haste rune and is now on the lamb right now. And Yuma, he's looking to just find him. He does have Boundless Strike, though, so this kill might be impossible. There's no Remnant either. So KXY has to almost get lucky here on the chain. But also, RCY also just has to run. If he sticks around, that's when he could actually make a pretty grave mistake here.
Yeah, just keep on moving. Maybe the Boundless Strike clips him, but I think you take that chance as opposed to just standing there and trying to fight your way through it. So we'll have to wait and see what the play is. No immediate DCs, so not 100% sure what the cause of the pause is, but hopefully it is a short one. How much time? 1.7 on the TP here for the Monkey King. So, I think there is still going to be an opportunity for some sort of jump in here, but without the Boundless, I don't think they can actually... They can't actually do much of anything. So, never mind. No opportunity whatsoever. He walks away.
Yeah, it just runs through. Could be worse. Yeah.
He is relatively tough in this engagement, but Yuma, there's going to be the Boundless. Oh my god. There was an attempt at the cookie there, but between Yuma and a little bit of extra damage from KXY, he just gets taken down in midair, and Yaren, he's got to run as well. The arrow, though, comes in and connects. He's going to be able to pick up both kills.
Yeah, pretty easy stuff. Not too worried either, because now you get to just kind of chill. You get to take over the map. You get to close in on more of these tier twos. One thing they do need to be careful of, though, is leaving Oscar kind of out in the wind up top here. He's got a lot of vision and a lot of wards that he can very easily make the retreat, but that's where if a DogChamp do just want to make that knee-jerk smoke happen, getting a Beastmaster kill would be pretty nice. It's where effectively right now they're playing in all three lanes on the SG side, so a punish should appear somewhere for DogChamp, but this also works too. You get the Enchantress just going a little bit too far forward, trying to get that D ward, and that is 100% going to be free. Unfortunately now, though, because DogChamp just waited, what, 20 seconds? SG is already starting to kind of form back up in the mid lane as a full 5.
Stonebank, though, does have the Chrono, so some sort of opportunity. Although if Yarn gets picked off here, that's a lot of their damage that's taken away, so... Yeah, Italiano Gangster was thinking about it, but they really can't afford to do this. And Yuma? Boundless onto Stonebank, but he's not actually fully committing.
No, and, well, there's your Night Stalker ulti. Just means that now, well, you're going to have a Daywalker pretty soon here, and you're going to have to probably give up your mid-tier 2 for free. They could glyph it and then look to just fight later. Nope.
Oh,
Awkward.
the Chrono. Okay. What else can they do, though? Nope, there's going to be the Thunder God's Wrath that does find them one. The problem is Stonebank's pretty low himself. He's able to time walk away, though, but the Boundless hits him. Hit by the Boundless. Clipped there by... Actually, it wasn't Oscar. It was Yuma who finished it off. So Stonebank is dead. B9 went down. RCY can't make it out of the range of the Sleight of Fist. And, you know, for a moment there, that looks kind of slick, right? They cut the tree. They get the Chrono. All is well. But then how much damage can you do in the Chrono becomes the question. And DogChamp weren't happy with the answer.
Yeah, and he actually didn't even get the Chrono onto the Monkey King. So during the entire Chrono, the Monkey King just hit him, which was really sad and very funny. And Italiano Gangster gets cleaned up by KXY, shoots him the XD, but the racks are still under siege here.
You know when you get hit by the XD mid-game, things are starting to turn against you, but they haven't finished off the racks yet. F is going to buy some time. Yuma, though... doesn't care. They can't really kill him off twice here. They don't have the full strength to do so, so he's able to get the melee racks. They don't really care about the ranged. Not really sure that they should if they have an opportunity for something else instead, because the tier 2 mid, I was going to say they could try for it, but their creep wave kind of just died on them, so he was going to try it anyway. Pops a salve, hits the tower, has the armor reduction, so okay. Let's find the kill.
Oh, it just kind of ends up working out for them. And the Aegis will be expiring in 20 seconds here, so you do have to maybe peel back a bit. As we typically see, though, you can trade out the Aegis expiring with the BKB. You still have a lot of that safety that you get to play around. And yet again here, we're kind of stuck just waiting for Stonebank to find that perfect Chrono. He's going to have his BKB soon, which is going to make his life a whole lot easier, especially getting to ignore a lot of what that Scarith Mage has been doing. Silences have just been so obnoxious for him to actually find the exact perfect Chrono. But that's also where nighttime... This is where you smoke up on DogChamp. You just try to get a play going. Unfortunately, Italiano Gangster is so poor right now, which is sad to say because he's got a lot of net worth, but no Blink Dagger. Everything feels like Phantom Gold.
Yeah. Phase Bootsy... Excuse me, Echo Saber. Not E-Blade, Jesus. It allows him to do some, but... not enough. Not enough to be the guy sort of, as you said, blinking on that backline and getting the silence down, so... that really does mean it just is 100% Stonebank, huh? They don't have any options other than him.
No, and it's slow. It's controlled. The vision advantage is still just stunning as well. SG just are not losing their wards for 5-6 minutes every single time they get a nice placement. And the items, they just keep pouring in. They're playing so much of the map right now. And nobody on DogChamp either can make a break for those lanes just yet. You're getting no split push action. Nobody's getting farmed. Everybody is just bottled here. And it's mainly because they feel confident enough to take a team fight with this BKB on Stonebank. But until they find that Chronosphere, they're just stuck here. Not even a big Chronosphere, just pickoffs to make SG heal. Because right now, they're getting out-farmed, they're getting out-CS'd. All three lanes are constantly pushed in. and nothing's coming forward for them.
Such a rough spot as Prada. Okay, forces a
Oh,
BKB. It may cost him his life. It may, but Jesus, it's not an easy kill. He finally gets it with the dilation damage, but if you're Prada, who cares, right? That's a BKB being used for his own life. It doesn't really stop SG if they wanted to try and force something. It's actually going to be DogChamp who try to take advantage. They've got the numbers right now with the 5v4. Stonebank hit the chrono. That's been the question all game long. How far a path are they going to take here? There we go. They're cutting in now. Spot Yuma. BKB popped. Stonebank is waiting quite some time. He's going to grab the DD rune instead of actually going directly in, but he does still need to find a Chronosphere target. And there it is. They're in onto Oscar. Can they kill him off quickly? Yes, they can. They do end up losing one of their important heroes, though, as KXY just goes all the way into base to take down RCY, but in terms of the actual fight itself, yeah, this is a problem. SG are just sort of regrouping, rallying around that outpost, and they found Stonebank. What else can they do here? B9 is just doing Enchantress things, running around, waiting to see how long he lives. Not long enough, though, as Yuma does pick him off, and, well, good news is he chronoed someone and they killed him, right? The bad news is you only caught one, and your own Zeus was just getting absolutely destroyed on the back line.
yeah, the Ember Spear just never even batted an eye. And he did have to heal. He wasn't able to partake in any of the after fight, but at the same time, doesn't really matter. You get the kill on the Zeus, you take away so much more damage that they did rightfully output out onto Oscar. Oscar that was a doornail, but at the same time, don't feel like that's enough. And it was just very smart to disengage in the way they did. Yuma just got away from the Night Stalker, got away from the Faceless Void, and then just still is the carry of the fight as Italiano. Okay. Barely able to TP out of bottom, but that's where we're still paralyzed on DogChamp. Got a little bit of farm, I think, with the respawns and having SG kind of respecting what was going down there. You didn't see KXY. Whoa!
Whoa!
Hey, KXY.
What?
Well, he's got Blink.
Hell?
Does that BKB as well, though, but... Well, hey, Ember.
I don't know which side was more surprised by that play, because it looked like everyone kind of froze for a second once they realized that there's suddenly an Ember standing in the middle of like 5 people, but it doesn't end up hurting. They get him away. KXY, though, just jumped into the silence, so that forces his BKB, but if they can get Italiano, it's not going to matter. BKB used for a pretty solid purpose. 45 seconds dead. Doesn't have buyback. Is he short? Oh, he is quite a ways short. He just bought out Hammer, so. Dead for 35. No way back in if SG want to push, and it looks like Yuma wants in. He blade onto him, though. That forces out his own BKB use, and yeah, just a prank. Not a real push. Just going to back off and heal up. Actually, he doesn't really have much in the way of lifesteal here, so can't really heal all that quickly.
Yeah, it's if you got a Paladin sword, you'd probably be absolutely fine, but we'll have to just kind of bide his time maybe a little bit here. He's not going to want to partake in any team fight without his BKB anyway, though, so just gets the farm instead. Roche is going to be up in 10 seconds, though, and then we're right back in that situation. And oh, there's the smoke.
Oh, man. There it was, and now it's gone. KXY just breaks up the whole thing. Honestly, if you're DogChamp, though, you're still moving towards the pit. You're still checking. Doesn't really change the overall game plan for you. Should see that it's back up. They do take the outpost first. Probably a smart move if you're trying to compete for Roshan. Don't want to let your opponents just TP in behind you, but no actual check. They did scan. Nobody's in there, though, so they don't know that Roche has respawned, whereas SG does because they just sent the Hawk over the top of the pit.
Yeah, they also think sent the Enchantress creep in, so both teams should be very aware of what's going on here. I find it a little bit funny that during daytime, SG don't immediately go back to get a lot of this control, because they've conceded some pretty important ward sentries that Bloody Nine was able to actually place here. So maybe giving a little bit more confidence to their opponents. Kicksway just walks in and takes the range tracks. You know, sure, why not? But That's where you gotta be careful. They have complete vision here from DogChamp. They are not afraid. Need to be careful with this Hawk, but let's see it.
Oh, KXY tries to jump the back line, getting onto B9, roots him up, but the Glimmer Cape is going to keep him alive here for the time being, and KXY, gotta be careful. BKB is going to wear off. Make sure you don't get caught. Well, he's caught. Stonebank throws down the ult. There's going to be the Mortimer Kisses coming in as well. Thunder God's Wrath flying through. KXY has been taken down. Can DogChamp find anything else? They're trying to push a little bit further forward. But Oscar's going to turn around. There's the roar. Yaren is going to fall. Now the buyback from KXY. He jumps to his Remnant that was still on the field. And RCY, I don't think he realized that that Remnant was still there because he got way too close to it. And, well, buyback just turns the tides. DogChamp pushed too far forward after finding what honestly was a very impressive first kill. But after that, they just kind of fall apart.
Yeah, they just blew too much. They were expecting or maybe even thinking that, okay, if we force the buyback, then we're completely okay with it. If we do that, then we can set up for our next Roche fight. If he doesn't buy back, then same deal. We just force him into that awkward position. But SG, they don't even care about the Roche. They're just gunning up towards their high ground. And you've got Glyph on DogChamp's side, but you are not getting your Glyph refreshed here. So you got to pop it early. But feels like this is at least the melee racks, and then they're just going to retreat into that Roche pit. And unless DogChamp want to give up everything here, what an ugly position to be in.
It's not going to be... I was going to say 2 full lanes of racks. Not quite, though, as they went for the range rather than the melee. So, your DogChamp, you do still have that up for you. But as you said, now it's just going to be that push towards the Roche pit. And, I mean, ET, how can they possibly do this? Right? There's no Thunder God's Wrath, there's no Chronosphere. They used all their ults in that fight and still lost it, so now it just feels like they can't do this. They're still moving towards it, but I mean, the guns are empty.
No, this feels pretty hollow here. 15 seconds as well, and Italiano. Oh.
XY spots out RCY again. He has just had his absolute way with that Zeus. He is searching out for him every single time, as the Abyssal Blade is going to stun up the Faceless Void, and that's it. GG. It was a desperation play from DogChamp. It's not going to work out.
Yeah, no. KXY just had his way with the Zeus every single team fight. You just could not survive in the items as well. He had Blink Dagger, he had Eth Blade. Maybe not the most prudent of choices, but at the same time, you know, he's just trying to survive. He's just trying to play. But I am kind of glad here the DogChamp lost this game because they did get greedy. They tried to run a lineup they've already ran before. They picked that Night Stalker just one pick too early. You get Monkey Kinged. Your Night Stalker doesn't have a game. The Monkey has a fantastic game. Yuma's got one of the best monkeys in the game. Doesn't make your life any easier. And then KXY just balls out of control. So I think this was at least some sanity getting brought back into me. It's like, finally, Void didn't win despite it all. Because otherwise, I don't know. That would have been quite sad. But yeah, I think this was just easy punish from SG and a pretty deserved 1-1.
Yeah, they get that 1-1 split. Obviously, you want a 2-0 sweep every opportunity that you have, but just put points on the board. Don't leave any opportunities on the table. That's how you end up in 9th place and getting eliminated and not even making that playoff bracket. So, SG respond quite nicely, and I think it's a little bit of what we were talking about before, right? Shifting more of that responsibility for the lockdown and forcing teamfights onto the cores. Take a look at the stat lines of those cores, except maybe Oscar's kill count. Just ignore that one a little bit. But other than that, they were everywhere that they needed to be, which meant that the Mirana and the Skywrath could be supplemental instead of necessary.
Yeah, and I think there is a universe in which I think RCY has a much better game, a much better lane, and then KXY does feel maybe a little bit overloaded, but I just think this was very simple outdraft. Get your Skywrath stolen away from you. Mirana is still a big question mark for me. I don't know if I really felt the effects of the Mirana. I think the Moonlight Shadow is still kind of an invaluable skill, and it is pretty sick versus Zeus, but you also know exactly where they are whenever you get scouted out. So it's tough to say how strong or how highly these teams should value the Mirana, but hey, it worked this time around. We'll have to see if more teams decide to adopt her, because again, it is kind of out of left field, and SEA has not touched that hero in the slightest. It feels like an SA only thing at this point, but we'll have to see. But rest of the lineup just honestly played incredibly well. We'll have to see if they can manage a few more points here, because I think that's where SG is struggling a bit, but they haven't played that many games though, so we'll have to see more from them just straight up. But that's a team that I think a lot of people are definitely looking to make it into that upper bracket spot.
Yeah, just based on sort of what we had seen from them in the past. This win now improves their record to 2-4, so they're still kind of hanging out near the bottom, but as you said, haven't seen too much from them. Still plenty of time schedule, but we're going to be shifting things up here. That's our second series done and dusted, so we are moving on to that third and final best of two. It is back to a North American matchup as we are checking out Felt versus the Cut as that final series. Before we do, though, we are going to take a little bit of time here to tell you once again about the giveaway that we're doing. You heard us after the previous game talking about the new Armada 25 FHD monitor from HyperX. You can win yourself a monitor for free. Get yourself one of those high-end monitors when they do actually become available, because as we said before, technically quite out yet, but it will be coming soon. You can win yourself one. You can get some cool BTS branded merchandise there on top of it. So you got a monitor that looks good. You got clothes that look good, right? You probably look good if you're the one who wins the contest. That's just how the universe works. So enter into that. You can see at the top of your screen right there, it's bts.gg/pro series giveaway. So enter for your chance to win. I believe they're going to draw, I think according to that, October 8th. So basically after the event ends, if you win, you'll be contacted and you get some cool stuff. So take your shot at that. But for now, we are going to be stepping away. It is going to be that final series coming up next, Felt versus the Cut, just a little bit. So stick around and we'll be right